right, then we will go ahead and get started. If we'd like to go ahead and advance to the next slide, that would be fabulous. All right, as we gather today, just wanted to, as is my tendency, pull up again the why we're here, just to remind everyone. I know that it's important for us to stay attached to what our purpose, our mission, and our vision are, and orient all of our meetings to that. So just putting that up there for visibility. If you could move forward to the next slide. Heidi is going to lead us in a chalice lighting.
As Kay lights our chalice, we gather today in a sacred space, kindling a fire that burns here in our chalice and in our hearts. We gather to engage in a different kind of worship, one that doesn't include sermons or hymns, but is holy nonetheless. We gather to honor our covenant and engage in congregational life, doing the necessary work to ensure that this community thrives. We gather together as a people of faith, guided by love, a love that burns as bright as the flame in our chalice. We light this chalice, as we have done so many times before, for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and hope, and the energy of action.
Thank you, Heidi. Can the membership committee let us know if we have quorum? Did we lose Mary? We do have quorum. Excellent. Thank you all for being here. Very, very, very much appreciate it, both live in the room and on Zoom. All right, next slide. The first order of business today is for approval of our 2023 annual meeting minutes. Is there any discussion from anyone on any portion of those based on what was published with the annual report? Would anybody like to make a motion to approve? Okay, I think I saw Max first. Second, up here, Sonis. All right. All in favor of approving the 2023 annual meeting minutes, say aye or raise your card. Raise your card. Okay, it appears that in the room we have unanimously passed those. I'm going to take a look at the Zoom link. If you are on Zoom, please make sure that you are also opening the link and voting. Thank you. All right. And I'm going to give just a little bit of time here for our friends on Zoom as well, as I'm monitoring here. Okay. It appears that we have approved the 2023 annual meeting minutes. That was easy. All right, moving on, please. Little bit of a fiscal year 24 in review. Just wanted to go through a couple of things here. One, we have a number of things to celebrate here. First off, we wanted to recognize and appreciate the folks of the Campus Action Rental team. There were a number of folks who volunteered on that for all of the work that they completed this year to step up and support. Just saw the budget or the treasurer's report for March, and through March we have already met fiscal year 24 rentals goal, so budget. So thank you. That is 100% due to the hard work of all the folks around here. So much, much appreciated. We have stood up and have in various stages of activation the adult RE team, pastoral care team, and the safety team. Those have been established. If there are folks who have interest in serving on any of the above teams, certainly we would welcome additional participation, and you can send that to me, or you can send that to anyone on leadership development as well. The finance team was stood up this year under the fabulous direction of Kay Ekman. Thank you, Kay. They have done a significant amount of heavy lifting on auditing the expenses that we have and going through every last line of that budget and seeing where they could do some things to help move us into the direction of a sustainable budget going forward. They have put forward the budget proposal that you all saw and that we will vote on today. Next up, restarted the grocery card program. As we all know, that it's very important that we have multiple streams of income, not just pledges. So thank you to Ann Verweeby for her work on that. Thank you to Trudy and to a number of other folks, the most successful service auction in recent history. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Under Jen Gregg's direction, we've managed to make some really fantastic repairs and much needed repairs to the masonry in the bell tower. So thank you. And thank you to all of those as well who have put forward special donations toward that, or who at the service auction put forward additional donations toward that as well. Emily is not here, but I think all of us would be very remiss if we did not call out the hiring of Emily Hall this year. She's been a tremendous, tremendous addition to the home. And then last but certainly not least, and there are tons and tons of other things that we could put up on this slide, so I didn't want to take up the entire meeting with those, but last and certainly not least, addition of 17 new members this year, which is just absolutely tremendous, so thank you. All right, so then moving on. We would like to take a moment, have a moment of silence in memory of several of our departed friends and congregants. So we'll go ahead and just take a minute of silence for that. Okay, thank you. All right, so next up, I know many folks in this room, if not all but 6 people in this room, are wondering what's going on with the transitional ministry search. Those of you who are on Facebook or who pay lots of attention to your e-news will have noted that we did opt we interviewed, we had 5 very strong interim ministry candidates, 5 fantastic candidates coming out of the gate. 4 of them we opted to interview. They were all very strong as well. But after lots and lots of very UU-style robust dialogue and soul-searching and spending some extra time and taking a break and coming back together and having more conversation, we opted to discontinue the interim ministry search and to change our search into a contract ministry search. So as of this week, we have 2 incredibly strong contract ministry candidates. We interviewed the second one this week. We're delighted to be moving forward to second interviews with both of them on the week of the 28th, after Memorial Day. So we are very hopeful that we will come back to you with some good news not long after that. We're still targeting an August 1st date for hire. So more to come on that, but just know we have been absolutely delighted with the caliber of candidates that we have had come in. So any questions on that? Yeah, who's the group doing that? Is from the board, we have myself, Jenny Horvath, and Susanna Smart. And then we have been thrilled to have Reverend Christy Anderson, Randy Rahutsky, and Rhonda Richardson also joining us. They're continuing, yes. They have been kind enough and generous enough to share time to continue doing that, yes. Go ahead.
What's the difference between a settled minister and a contract minister?
So a contract minister, a settled minister, there are a couple different things, is called by the congregation, by congregational vote in a meeting such as this, and is by definition a full-time, ongoing, continuing, unless there is a reason that we would remove them from ministry. A contract minister is hired for a specific period of time. They may or may not have the same set of duties. In this case, they will probably likely have a very similar set of duties. But that contract will expire, and unless we continue to renew it. Does that help? That is possible, but the settled minister would have to be called by the congregation in a meeting like this. So if we like this person, and we hope that we will, if we like this person who's a contract minister and over time we can get them to full-time, then yes, they could become a settled.
I just want to say we have people on Zoom.
Thank you.
So, well, I don't know if they're saying anything right now, but if you have questions, I'd like you to either use the microphone or we'll need to have those questions repeated. Thank you.
I missed that. Is it a settled minister or a contract minister that is on the docket?
Right now, we are searching for a contract minister. A settled minister would be probably at least a year-long search, a much more extensive sort of thing. But ultimately, we're hopeful that this person will be a good match, this contract minister, and after some time with the congregation, we might decide that we would like to call them. That would be the hope. Any other questions on that? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on then. And this was the update, so we can just keep going. Okay, so that brings us to fiscal year 2025 already. So we'll go ahead and start with the first order of business there. And the first order of business is the fiscal year 2025 budget. Kay, if you'd like to pop up.
Hello. You can go to the next slide, please. Again, thank you so much. We had a record pledge campaign this year. So many thank you to Sandy Eaglin and Andrew Rome for their great leadership and enthusiasm. So thank you. And again, the number of new pledges, it's just, it's a great feeling to feel that we are really moving forward in this church. Next slide, please. Okay. The Finance Committee met monthly this past year and looked at all of our line item expenses. We came up with a number. Our overall goal was to look at what we had to fund, look at something, whether it was a want or a need. We came up with a number of $75,000, which we felt would attract, which we could afford, and would attract a 3/4 time minister at the UUA minimum start point. So using that figure, thank you so much. I know the search team has been diligent about keeping to that number. With that, there are still some unknowns. Health insurance, for example, will be an unknown, but we're moving in the right direction towards reducing the amount of money that we have to borrow from our bequest funds. I know we've done a lot of meetings previously we've passed out line item budgets. I'm hoping that everybody is pretty clear on what we're hoping our budget will do this year coming up. We did give the staff this year a 3% raise. They've not had a raise in quite a while. This won't bring them up to the UUA minimum, but every little bit, it's better than a punch in the nose. And sorry. We've also, we did reduce staff expenses, and we have, the next year, we will not be able to offer the highest level of health insurance. We will move down a level of health insurance for the staff. I know there were some concerns about that as well. If you do have serious concerns, I'm not going to turn this into a discussion on benefits, but I do have a list of benefits that we offer, and I also have a list of what plan we're paying now versus what we're going to be offering in the next year, at the next year's sign up. So after the meeting, if you have concerns, you're welcome to come and discuss it with me, and see what all we do offer. I think we still offer our staff a great level of benefits. So next slide, please. Okay. This budget reduces our draw, and again, the year following, hopefully in fiscal '26, we'll be able to bring it down even further. The worst thing we could do is continue borrowing and face a giant cut. That's why I'm trying to, the finance team, who I should name, Max Grubb, David Smeltzer, and Dave Watt, and Mary Beth Hannon, and the treasurer. Who is the new treasurer? Brian, thank you, Ryan Sussman, I'm sorry. We're all trying to manage this, and hopefully with our growth, we'll be able to easily next year borrow less. These figures up here show what our bequest, what's going to happen to the monies that we have from the Hobbs bequest as we draw down. I just noticed that we have this right here. I'm cranking my head to try to read this up here. Okay. Next slide, please. This is our recommended budget. Again, we've had a couple of sessions where we've discussed this, and we've also had a line item and slide. Are there any questions about this? Is our source of income that we're expecting. And I do want to call out grocery card sales and the rental team, Katie and the group that's handling all the volunteers that are helping out with the hall are just hitting it out of the park. So a big thanks to them. Next slide. Oh, I'm sorry, Swanee.
I want to say that I just heard about, somehow, well, it hasn't been going very long, the grocery cards. And I thought, you know, I buy most of my groceries at one of the places that's on the, you can get a card. And I thought, well, this is a no-brainer. You know, this money is going to go to the church. Why not? And then when I discovered, and when you have, you get points or whatever it is, you know, to get back money. I still get the points. I still get money back. I mean, it's you know, it's a great program.
Thank you for the testimonial. Yes, Dave. Oh, sure, Sam.
Okay, real quick. One of the things that I very religiously do is I keep all my Acme receipts during the community cashback time, and I have an envelope on my kitchen table, and when I come in with the groceries, I check what my community cashback is. I toss the ones that don't have any community cashback, but I put ones in an envelope. Somebody on one of the Facebook pages gave me all of her community cashback stuff. I was able to turn in over $200 worth of receipts this last time. So if you shop at Acme like I do, and it's during, I think it's August to, I don't know, January, February, something like that, check your community cashback, keep those receipts, turn them in here to the church. We get money from that, and that's really important. It's not a lot. I mean, like I said, I turned in like $200 worth, but that's money in our pocket. So be very aware of that.
Yeah, Elaine might know a bit about that.
Yeah, I usually take care of that, and anyone who has them or wants to get them to me or drop them off at the church office, I'll take care of it.
And I think they're also collecting them where you buy grocery cards too. So we're good. And Dave, did you want to?
I just wanted to make the point that 20,000 might be a little misleading because we have the expense of we actually have to buy the gift grocery cards. So that's not profit. That's income, but it's not profit.
Yes. We earn roughly 5%, between 2.5% and 5% on those grocery cards. Okay, any questions? Next slide, please. Okay, this is our proposed budget. This is in a program format. Again, I actually have a line item budget here if anybody hasn't seen one and wants to see one. We've been passing them out during this week, during this month of informational meetings. Is there any questions on this budget as it stands right now, or the proposed budget? Yes, Trudy.
So looking at the raises, the staff income, we're willing to make sure that the new minister is at the minimum. How much would it take to bring our current staff up to the minimum?
The minimum, like, just
The minimum
salary alone,
wages.
roughly $20,000. Anybody else? Yes, Swanee.
I would like to know what you anticipate for, what kind of things are going to be done with the social justice and community outreach budget.
Specifically what it consists of?
What is designed to cover?
Yeah, what line items are in there?
Okay, let me get my other hat. Let me just roughly say, social justice and community outreach. Can somebody on my committee help me out here, or familiar with the program budget? I'm trying to think of what line item.
It includes the youth dinners, and I would say more than half of it is youth-related.
Yeah, let me grab my line item, Swanee. I'm sorry, I'm suffering from anxiety talking to a bunch of people, and these numbers are not coming up out of my head. Okay, things like lay leader development, the fellowship, because it's internal and external outreach, things like coffee hour, the personnel, well, that's community within. Okay, it is, again, the community meals, monies for the Social Justice Committee, for the Racial Justice Committee, and the time, it not only reflects like the line item amounts of specific things that we're going to buy, but also the hours that the staff put in on those particular topics of social justice and community outreach. Does that help? I mean, it does not include like the monies that we collect every month for, okay, that's a separate thing, and that's literally tens of thousands of dollars that we send out yearly. Yes, Don?
Back to UUA salaries. Are they set nationally, or are they adjusted by region?
They're adjusted by region.
Thank you.
So a smaller, we would be in a different category than a church on the East Coast, for example.
Okay, it's by size of congregation.
And by size of congregation, yes.
As much a comment as a question, but when you are changing the health care plan, basically effectively reducing it, and then giving a 3% raise, depending upon the person's health care situation, that might be a net loss. So people need to just be advised that no one's getting rich over this.
Yes,
And
yes.
and then you throw in cost of living, and then you're really not keeping up. So I think people need to be aware that everyone is really sacrificing in order for this to move forward.
Yes. I will also say that the plan that we're moving to is probably comparable to what most of you get. So the plan that we're on right now is extremely generous, to be honest with you. So we're kind of moving in line.
Well, that's
what-
fine, but
yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of, you pay taxes on income, you don't pay taxes
Right.
on healthcare. I mean, it's so, there's a lot of implications of changing
Yeah.
that. And so I want people to realize that that's really, to some degree, a swap out, not really a net gain.
And I would be happy to show you the numbers too.
Right.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you, everyone. We worked really hard to help make this a transparent process. So I think that this shows that everybody's pretty familiar with it, and it's been an honor. Okay.
Okay, so any further discussion? Would anybody like to bring a motion related to that budget? I saw Sandy first. Sandy's moving. Did I see Don seconding? Don second. All right, so all in favor of passing the fiscal year 2025 budget as proposed, say aye and raise your card very high. Okay. All right, if you're on Zoom, please make sure that you have hit submit, have voted on all the items and hit submit so that we can count yours as well. Okay. All right, are there any abstentions? Okay, I've got one abstention and I've got one absentee. Abstention. Okay, we've got 3 abstentions. Okay, all opposed, same sign, raise your card. Okay, it would appear that we have passed the fiscal year 2025 budget as proposed. And thank you again to the committee that worked on that budget. I know that there are a lot of really tough conversations and decisions. This is not easy work for anyone, and we are all in violent agreement. Maybe that's not the right adjective, but we are all in agreement that we really want to be in a place where we're paying staff fair wages per guidelines, and we're paying our full fair share and all those things. And we're moving in that direction. So thank you to all of those who have made that work. All right, so probably an easier one. Fiscal year 2025 slate of candidates, and Kathy is not here, but thanks to the leadership development team for spending lots and lots of time on this, and also identifying that we have lots of very active congregants who are not members. So they're probably not in the room here, but if you know of any congregant who's not a member and would like to encourage them, if you go ahead into the next slide. So as you can see up here, the proposed slate for next year for Board of Trustees, Randy Rahutsky and Claudia Miller. Thank you to both of you for stepping forward. Financial Secretary, Sonis Parsons, Lois Weir filling in for 2 years of Ryan Sussman's 3-year term, since he will be moving over to take over the treasurer role. Endowment Committee, David Smeltzer. Leadership Development, Don Gregg. Thank you, Don. And Ministry Executive Team Member at Large, Kathy, continuing for another year. All right, can you go forward one slide? I want to make sure that this is just a visual to the continuing terms, so you can see who else is still in the roles, the elected roles through next year. All right, having viewed the slate for next year, can I get a motion to, all right, I see Max Grubb making a motion to approve those, and up here we've got Sally seconding. So all in favor of approving the slate as laid out, say aye, raise your card. Hit submit on Zoom if you haven't. All right. Okay. Any abstentions? And any opposed, say nay. And raise your card. All right, we have passed the slate for next year. Thank you very much. All right, and the really exciting portion, the bylaws revisions. We want to. I know I found it exciting to go through. All right, so next slide, please. So this is a summary. After we kind of review the summary, we can flip through each of these. Hopefully, you have all read the great detail in the annual report, because I know everybody's favorite thing is governance and things like that. So anyway, essentially the three changes that we are working on this year, or that we are proposing this year, are editing some sections that refer to a personnel coordinator. That's a lot of, that body of work is a lot of work for one person to do. So we have, in consultation with the Leadership Development Committee, the recommendation is to expand to a personnel committee so that more than one person can work on that significant body of work. And it is a significant body of work because we have our personnel handbook has not been updated in years and years and years and years. So the folks who are working on this committee will be doing us a lot of great service in evaluating that. The second item up here is clarifying the number of trustees elected annually. This is just a verbiage thing. There were some places where we were still referring to a nine-member body by implication, even though we had gone to a 7-member board a few years ago. And then lastly, just again, this is clarifying language, clarifying that limitations on terms of service are, within consecutive years, not that, folks can't serve on the board, for example, 3 times and then come back, take a break and come back and serve a 4th term like Randy. So that's just some verbiage clarifying. All right, can we go to the next slide? We can just kind of flip through these. These are the specific changes to the verbiage. All right. Okay, so we'll pause there. Is there any question or any further discussion on bylaws revisions? Oh, I know you all have lots of deep and burning questions about this. All right, looking online, double checking. All right. Would anybody like to make a motion to, all right, I see Jenny's hand first, and second, I think I saw Lori. All right, so all in favor of revising the bylaws as proposed, say aye and raise your card. Aye. Okay. Any abstentions? Okay, all opposed, same sign. We have passed the proposed revisions to the bylaws. Fabulous, yay, thank you. All right, so again, then looking forward, just if you could go to the next slide, this is going to be my bit of an advertisement, PSA, request, whatever you would like to call it. General Assembly is online this year, fully online this year. We have 2 folks who have expressed interest in serving as our delegates. We are allowed 2 more, so Heather Pritchard and Vivian Sandlin have volunteered. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
I'm a little concerned about the money here because it's past May 15th. I volunteered a while ago, but I didn't hear back whether I was approved.
Yep.
So it's going to cost more money now.
So there's no cost for being a delegate. It's for the broader, all the other additional seminars and things like that. We do have funds for that. That's why I wanted to get folks approved as soon as possible.
Right. Well, going to the other stuff is really valuable, but I guess it's just going to cost a lot of money because it's going to be more than $400 now.
Slightly.
We waited till after May 15th. Oh, well.
Yep. And again, if anybody else is interested, please, please, please let me know. There are funds available via leadership development, already budgeted. Okay, next slide. All right, so we wanted to say thank you to our staff who are not here, I don't see, well, Julie's here, and our outgoing leaders. So if you could flip to the next slide. Outgoing folks, up here, as you can see, Heidi, Carol, Sonis, Bonnie, and Kathy from Leadership Development. Also, a tremendous amount of thanks to all of you who have put in so much work over the last couple of years. Lots and lots and lots of change. Also, I know staff, except for Julie, are not here, but they have had a roller coaster of a year this year as well. And I know it's not always easy to hear people sitting and talking about your livelihood, right? So really, really appreciate all the hard work that they have put in and their sensitivity there as well. So can I get a round of applause for our fine folks? All right, next slide. That brings us to extinguishing the chalice. Oh, Ginny?
Before we close the meeting, I just wanted to say something to Kara as our moderator. She has done a tremendous job in a difficult year. I can say as a board member, she keeps us on task and she's interested not only in bylaws, but in being fair to people. And I just wanted to recognize her as the moderator of our board.
Thank you.
And her family. Her family has sacrificed a lot for her to be so devoted.
Thank you. Okay, Heidi, thank you all.
That is certainly well-deserved. All right, would you like to put the chalice out before it burns the church down? This is called Sharing Our Blessings by Adam Slate. We end our gathering with gratitude for camaraderie, shared wisdom, goodwill, and support that we extend to each other within this community. May we continue to bless each other with these gifts, and may we reflect these blessings back out into the world as we minister to those around us.